Alright everyone, welcome to Tay's Tiny Worlds. I'm Taylor. Tonight I'm doing the Kingdom Death, Echoes of Death Mage. Welcome everybody. Alright, so here she is. I really like this model in particular. She's extremely delicate and very feminine with her hair blowing along her neckline like a scarf. So I'm going to go ahead here and get started. I'm going to start with her skin. Now, I've been playing around a lot with contrast paints. Dun dun dun. Alright, so let me see if I can bring this in just a wee bit closer here. Really working on my camera layout this year. My goal, one of my many goals for 2020 is to get my, get really good with how my layout looks. Definitely a goal of mine. As you can notice, I've tweaked my layout here just a smidge. A lot, actually. Trying to find something that I feel flows a bit better. So I'm doing her skin today in Skeleton Horde. Kind of the same skin tone I was going for, really, with the Thief. It went way too yellow though with the paint I used, which is why I'm trying to use this this contrast shade. See how this does. It's funny with Kingdom Death models, you know, like they're the models you love, so they're the models you buy, but you find yourself like experimenting on them because you don't buy like kind of more beginner models, I guess is what I'm trying to say. For example, I totally snipped her finger off over here on her, maybe her right hand, so she's totally like nine-fingered, this nine-fingered mage here. Working into her character background somehow. I'm liking how this is turning out, but it's so light. You almost like can't see it on screen. Nope, let me check my phone here real fast. Nope, just an email. Okay. I'm terrible. I like never check my emails unless it's like tracking information on like an item I've ordered or something, or like an email I know to watch out for. Otherwise I never check and see what they actually are. I was kind of turned off to contrast paints here in the beginning. I must say though, they've kind of grown on me a little bit. I painted up a model entirely doing contrast paints the other day, and it was actually a pretty fun experience, you know? Very fast, very easy. It becomes more important, I find, that you work cleanly with contrast paints, because what can happen, unfortunately, is that, like, if something doesn't come out perfectly, you know, you get some color where you're not supposed to, you kind of have to reapply the white and go back over it again in that same color. And that's a really easy way to build up too much paint. So you want to be particularly neat, I find, when working with contrast paints. Not that you shouldn't be neat with your other paints, they're just not very forgiving. What'll happen if you don't go back over it with the white is that, like, even if you apply another layer of contrast over that, the contrast in and of itself isn't thick enough. Don't dunk the frickin' paintbrush in the wine glass like I almost did. Pretty happy with how that skin tone came out. One thing I have found when working with contrast paints is it is very tempting to not go back and do a highlight over afterwards, or a dry brush, something to that effect. Go back and do that. Contrast paints will get you up to your midtones, but you're definitely going to want to come back and do like an actual, you know, highlight, etc. I just had an idea to give her white hair. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of want to give her white hair. I'm totally going to give her white hair. Oh my god. This is where you queue up Poor Decisions by the Real Mackenzies. Which I would do if I hadn't already dunked my paintbrush here. What I like about the contrast white is that it's white with dimension. Usually my problem with white is that, like, it's very flat. It's hard to go back and do, like, a highlight on it that's gonna add, like, dimension or depth to it, in my opinion. Which is why I put off painting Tao for so long, even though I really like Tao. It's just a lot of white. And people say, like, you can do other stuff to it. Like, Tao is essentially a lot of white. It's just not that interesting to paint, sadly. Whereas contrast white, at least, the white has depth. I am going to come back and do my metals in actual paint, so that, like, contrast isn't like actual paint. Okay, and acrylic paint. Let's put it that way. She's not going to be, like, entirely contrast. She's just going to be, like, mostly contrast. And as I say that, I realize I forgot to paint her boobs. Whoops. Can't forget the boobies. There they are. It's the first one. There's our second one. Alright, there's our boobs. Perfect. Alright. I'm going to go ahead here and knock out her bodice. For that, I'm going to use the Gore Grunt Fur. There we go. Tracing along where her boob is. Now, when you're painting with contrast paints, you want to do a white base, obviously, so they actually show up. It just makes it, in my opinion, my oh so humble opinion, more difficult to paint when it's white. Something about it makes it harder to see what exactly it is you're doing. This music is, like, oddly cheerful. Yeah, we're gonna change this. There we go, that's more like it. I like my music to sound like we're about to be overtaken by, like, mutant robots. Now, when you mess up with contrast, it's pretty easy to go back and fix. Like I just, I messed up here. I got some of that brown under her, or on her skirt. Apply some water and just remove the water. It'll take that color right out of there. Totally gonna have to go back and do again right there here in a second. Oh shit. Alright, there's a little bit in the front there that I missed. Or did I? No, that's just part of that, and I painted that the wrong color. Okay. Well, you know what? That'll be fine. Yeah, I'm still totally learning how to use contrast paints. They have those guides on GW's site, like, here's how to paint this in this contrast, and here's how to paint this in this contrast, and I'm sure they're actually very super helpful. I'm just, like, ignorant, and I'm like, I'll just fuck around and see what happens. You'll be fine. That's the thing. It's not the end of the world. Everything is always fine. That's one thing I found in the last year or so. There are very few things in life worth getting bent out of shape about. Like, really and truly. They're so few and far between. Like, why expend the unnecessary energy getting worked up about something that's not that serious? Alright. Now, for her robe here, I was gonna do the contrast pink fading into, like, the contrast brown. I might do pink fading into, like, turquoise. I'm totally leaning towards pink fading into turquoise. Let's see. Oh, I hope the guy's on camera so you can see me. Now, there's some places where, like, I totally would not use contrast paint. Like, there's a part here where, like, I'm gonna go back and do her, like, eyebrows and facial features. Like, I'm totally gonna use regular paint for that. It's just kind of difficult, I think, painting details with contrast because they don't hold quite the way you would like them to. Contrast by its nature tends to be kind of a more runny medium. Alright, so I think I'm going to do her hood fading down into pink. The hood pink fading down into turquoise, and the bottom layer I'm going to do in turquoise. Contrast, Pterodon turquoise, activate. close our beautiful pink here. I've been watching a lot of Project Runway here the last few days, and so then you're like, yeah, I'm getting this really cool ombre effect. It's great. Go ahead, hit up the underside of that coat in our turquoise. Go. Right, let me, one thing I do like about the white, it's real easy to see if you missed a spot. It's like super, super, super easy to see. It's also really easy to see if you fuck up. I got so much turquoise on her shoulder here, there might be no saving it. I might have to go back and put some white over that. Or, I don't know, maybe. Now I'm intentionally letting the turquoise dry on there very thick and very inky. Because I like it like that. I understand I could, you know, move the paint around there a little bit more, thin it out there some. I like the heavy inky effect. Like, it gives the model these really deep, rich tones that are just beautiful. There we go. Okay.
I've been painting every fence I know, every color bleeds into the same. 'Cause before you go and walk away.
Alright, just gotta get this part here under a cloak. There is actually, fun fact, an additional piece of cloak here that I left off. I might have Brian tack it back on when he comes home, my husband. But, yeah, we'll see about that. Because of how it goes in, I'm just like, I'm not sure how it goes, like, what it's supposed to be attaching to. You can't really tell that something's missing. I mean, just with the amount going on in the miniature anyway. Like, I feel like it might be fine without that, but we'll see. Alright, now I'm gonna come in with that contrast pink, which I notice now I totally got on her damn hair. That's alright, I didn't paint that part yet. I can actually go ahead and do... Let's be proactive here. Let's do a layer of white over that part in her hair where I got the pink. Start letting that dry. Clean up aisle 12. Alright. That'll do, pig. Alright, back to our contrast of a voluptuous pink. Shit, I totally got it on her hair again. Just painted that on her fucking hair, damn. Hi, Volbard. How are you on this fine, glorious evening? Just over here removing this pink off her hair. She's gonna wind up with kind of pink tinted hair. Either that or I'm gonna go back and do it in black. I don't know, I really like this white. Let me finish painting up the rest of her her hood here. We'll see how we feel after that. There we go. So how about you, Vobard? Are you working on anybody or anything tonight? Now those sleeves. She's got a corset and then she's got sleeves going on. I'm going to fix some spots on the corset area that I missed, and then I'm going to come back and worry about those sleeves later. Oh, it would help if I was doing it in the right color. I'm sitting there wondering why it's so light, and I thought I was using the contrast. I'm going to go around over here using the contrast skeleton horde. Like, this is blending too much with her skin. What's wrong? It's that you're using the wrong color, Taylor. Duh. That being said, I think I'm going to do that underlayer in a black. Back itches. Ah. Alright, so that shirt needs to be black. Everything's going to be black. Like me. gonna save those edges, come back to those. Alright, get a little bit more contrast black on there. Excuse me, everybody, I totally just burped. Because I am uncouth. Now, right now what I'm trying to do is look and see where one of her skirts ends, and I think it's along the line of the coins. Huh, I totally forgot to paint the back of her feet. That is super funny. And what I thought was the seam of her skirt is actually the seam on the model. Okay. I'm trying to figure out, like, if there's, like, folds in her dress, or if she slid when she was drawing, which is entirely possible. Getting her hair to actually hold to the model, that, like, annoying ponytail thing she has in the front, like, it's super pretty, but oh my god, is it irritating. Got some black on her sword. I don't care. It's fine. She is gonna get that layer of metallic and acrylic paint, so I know that'll cover her okay. I got it on her leg. We're gonna get that off right now. Because that's one of those places where it won't cover. I don't want to go back and have to repaint that in white and then repaint that. No, it's on there. I swear to God, it's like it takes forever to dry elsewise. Unless it's like a part you've already painted. And then it's like, hey, screw you. You will be repainting that pot again. Okay. Get that big streak right up there, right up the front that I was about to miss. Get some black on her foot just for good measure. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. So I've got that black out. Let's go ahead and do our detail work I was planning on doing with it. By detail work, I mean the sashes she has crossing over her waist. Now, do those tie there, or is that something there? It does come down lower there on that side. That spot there. Don't get on her arm, please. You totally did. Frickin' frack. Okay. You still totally see that brown. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about, where I got the brown where it wasn't supposed to go on her waistband. You can totally still see it. Go ahead and do another layer of this black. Now with the contrast, you don't have to come back and do another layer. I like to on some of the colors. Just make sure you get like a full effect of them. Also too, there is a gaping miss spot in her armpit, like OMG. Okay. Alright, well my white paint is still dry, or wet here. Well, it's still dry while it's still wet. Let me go ahead and fix that spot on her hair. Her hair's not supposed to be pink, it's supposed to be white. There we go. Let's try that and see if that gives you guys a better view. You can actually see all of the model now. What I'm gonna do, I think real fast, is just have a quick session of cleanup where colors such as the freaking black got where they were not supposed to go. The frickin' black and the frickin' pink. Alright. Alright, now I'm going to come back to the grunted drawer. There we go. Totally gotta sit here and remember to come back to that spot on her foot I missed. Hang on a second. It sounds like it's like pouring rain outside. Hang on. I'll be back.
Walking on ice, skating on the surface of what set free. Voices in the sound of clocks are singing me. You wanna be set free.
Okay, so I'm back. So it is like violently pouring down rain outside. Like I had to check and make sure our house wasn't flooding. Like, no, that's totally just rain. Alright, let me go ahead and get the spots now because I had to color correct in some places on her feet. I had to go back and fix. I brought the dog down here because he hates storms, and I laid out a blanket for him and everything, and he promptly went back upstairs. Alright. Touched up her skin. And now let me go back and touch up those freaking spots on her hair. I know I'm just doing white over white, but trust me, it matters. Bring those details right back out. Hell yeah. I've seriously been watching too much Project Runway. I'm sitting here like in Tim Gunn voice, like, it needs more dimension, it needs more personality to it.
Skating on the surface of what might have been. Do you wanna be set free? Voices in the sound.
She's got this thing on the side of her boob. It's like a harness or something. I'm gonna paint it brown and see what happens. I'm fairly confident it's not part of her body. It's like a strap coming down the side. And again, I got it on her hair. Jesus tap dancing Christ. This hair did not want to stay attached. And now I'm starting to think I should have just left it off and just glued it on afterwards. No, she has this coin necklace thing. I think that's what that thing is a part of. Going around her neck. What I'm doing is basically I'm pre-shading with the Gruntivore Or I'm going ahead and doing the shade over where I know I'm gonna do those metallics. Just to go ahead and get it out of the way. And there is, of course, a spot on her boob that I got. God damn it. Back to our faithful white here. It's raining so violently outside right now. TLS Terrain, if you're watching, be careful. He's my husband. He's streaming at his job right now. And, he's gotta drive back in this. There we go. She is coming along swimmingly. Now, all this I think is supposed to be metal on there. No, I think I say that there's parts of it. She has these like gauntlets, and I think the bottom is supposed to be like a leather, and like the top part is actually supposed to be metal. I'll go ahead and do the leather side right now, still using that grunter fur. If you were watching last night, I had this like thing going about freaking Gruntifer, the half ogre mage. She's very fancy. She'd been to finishing school. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead now for that top skirt. Switch back to the contrast pink. She totally has black tassels hanging down. Alright. Song sounds like me, like, don't get me up till I'm awake. As you start painting it up, all the hairs that got stuck in here when I was assembling it really start to pop. Because that's exactly what you want. That should be black there. Shit. The good news is the contrast black covers relatively decently. You still get an undertone of the color that was under there, so I'm going to try to remove most of it, but if there's a little left, it's not the end of the world. It's like how cats can have just a little salami. Just a little. Go ahead and paint down those tassels. Paint up those tassels hanging down. Words are hard. Paint that hole there. What's funny is I think I'm gonna have to go back and repaint that spot on her foot. I painted up finally after I missed it because of that spot in her swimsuit, or in her suit I had to paint. It's not even a suit. I've been watching too much Project Runway. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break for a few. I'll be back at 9. Oh, wait, I was gonna go take a break. I guess I'm not. Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Tay's Tiny Worlds. I'm your host, Taylor. Tonight I'm painting up the Kingdom Death. Survivors, Echo of Death. Go ahead and get started on metallics real fast. I was going to go take a break, but since you guys are all here, how's everyone doing tonight? Now I did everything else with contrast. Doing this with acrylic. Because in as much as I'm aware, contrast metallics are not a thing. Okay, there we go. Those are her gauntlets. Now I'm going to go ahead and do her legs and her sword, and I'm going to take a break for a few. Alright. It's funny with metallics, you always want to try to keep the paint going in the same direction, which I am like notoriously freaking bad at. Alright. The hell are we listening to? Like some kind of Lord of the Rings shit, I take it? This is not Lord of the Rings. I know the entire like Lord of the Rings soundtrack. I'm just saying, like, why is it this serious? I feel like I've broken free out of the Matrix or something. Alright, now onto her other leg. Alright, last little bit here. Alright. I'm gonna let that layer of silver settle. I'm gonna grab my gold and step away. I'll be back, everybody, in about 10 minutes or so. Call it 9:10. Hey, Cathra, what's up? What's poppin'? What is happening? So I am now. Shit. I said I was gonna do something. Totally forgot. Be right back. Good God, you. Good God, yes, it's me. In all my glory. I assume you mean going good, or good, you. One of the two. One of the two. I am well. Thank you for inquiring. Alright, so now I'm painting up those metallics. I did the rest of her in contrast. Contrast does not have metallics as so far as I am aware. So we're doing acrylics. For those, it's okay. Painting up these coins hanging down off her feet, or whatever they are, these scales. No, I'm doing them right now in copper. I'm going to come back over them and highlight in a rose gold. It is pouring down rain outside here. So I'm like, my allergies are like freaking out. Literally, as I sat down right now, my nose just started pouring, like, yay! I must admit, I totally had to stick my head outside to make sure, like, it was actually rain and that our house wasn't flooding. When it starts raining like this, all I want to do is curl up and go to sleep. Even though it's like 9 o'clock on a Friday night. As I'm painting the gold, I'm seeing all those lovely mist spots, which is the joy of priming in white, I suppose. You see all of your mist spots, which I guess is a good thing. I don't know, I like the black though. It kind of feels like you can cheat a little bit. You can get away with a little bit more. Like if you miss a spot, it's not, you know, apocalyptic. There we go. There's a hair, like, it's nowhere visible. Like, you won't ever see it unless you're, like, tilting it and looking at it from a certain angle. But, like, I know it's there. And because of where it is, it's, like, next to impossible to get. But, like, I'm gonna go in there with some tweezers after I'm done tonight and see if I can't do something about that. I think I got all of her coins. Time to come in and fill in those mist spots. Your contrast, black, whatever that. Blah. So I was gonna say wherever that went, but I couldn't talk, so da ba da ba da ba da ba da. Now, contrary to the rest of the line, contrast black actually covers pretty well. So you don't really need as much of it. It's not, as like, as if you, like, got, like, one of the other colors, like, somewhere it wasn't supposed to go. Contrast black is slightly more forgiving for that. As in, you can't see the color under it. Alright. Now let's see here. That's the majority of her silver done. Let's come in and do some work real fast on this handle of her sword. I'm going to do that in that bronze. Now I'm curious, she doesn't seem to have any lanterns anywhere on her that I've discovered so far in painting her tonight. Usually they all have lanterns, at least somewhere. Now she does have a staff with faces on it. Can you go and paint those bad boys up in that copper? Those are the running motifs of Kingdom Death, faces and lanterns. Alright, and there we go. Got that on there pretty easily. Now, she has this thing down here that looks like a strawberry. I wonder if that's supposed to be the lantern. I honestly, otherwise, don't have any idea what that is. And if it is a lantern, I'm not certain how to paint it. Let me come up here and do these coins up top real quick. The one circling her neck. Now these up here already got around in the Gruntifer, so I'm not too worried about coming back and doing a shade on them. However, she's got coins and other metallics going around her waist that I am totally gonna need to do a shade of some kind. She's got this big solid gold headpiece thing going on. Alright. Poisoning myself over here by licking the brush, and then I cleaned it off by dipping it in some water. Got that metallic paint on there still. Kids don't do that. Chew on a little bit. Make sure you really get that those metal shavings in your mouth. That's Brian coming home. Yay! I was a tad bit worried. It was raining really bad. Not too worried. He's a really good driver. But still, I'm his wife. I worry. He's up there singing to the dog right now. It's always nice when, like, everybody comes home and it's just your family. Just you guys. Like, we're probably gonna put on some garbage television, or he's gonna play his game for the rest of the night. It's just nice. It's homey. Hey, baby.
What's up?
Everybody, this is Brian.
Yo!
What are you eating? Are you gonna eat any of the leftover Thanksgiving food you brought home?
Yeah, had some yesterday.
You had some yesterday. Does that mean that you're done eating it now?
You want the rest?
Are we gonna eat any more of it?
How hungry are you?
I mean, I might eat some of it. Like,
Yes, I'm gonna have more. Are you actually gonna throw it out?
no, I'm just asking if, like, it's gonna sit in the fridge until it goes bad forever.
It probably will stay in the fridge way too long, but
There.
I do intend to eat more of it.
Okay.
What's up, Kath? Is that pink?
Yes. See?
It looks really good.
Thank you.
It's dry and nice too.
Thank you.
It looks almost like cotton candy.
Thank you. Do you like her white hair that I keep having to go back and focus on?
Oh.
Do you like the black? Thank you, baby. What you gonna go do? You gonna, or have you abandoned your game completely?
No, but I'm dangerously close to rage quitting.
Like perma rage quitting?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been playing Days Gone on PlayStation. And I'm at the most frustrating part right now. I'm about to just like uninstall it or something.
Baby, how much do you love me? Can you do me a favor? I left the Reichland flesh shade on my end of the coffee table. Thank you, baby. I shaved one of her fingers off so she has 9 fingers and a nub. Let me go back and fix that spot on her boob before I forget, because I was totally about to. Thank you, baby. You're the best husband ever.
No.
Now that I have my Reichland flesh shade. Hey, Alex Stefan 91. How are you?
Alex Stefan!
Brian says hi. You're the Alex Stefan from the other room. Oh god, we're almost out of Reichland flesh shade. Part of why I wound up doing her in the contrast paints tonight, true story. We were totally out of black spray paint, even though I swear to God, we just bought black spray paint. Brian's gigantic whatever that is he's working on took all the black spray paint, and now I'm just like, oh my god. I'm so freaking sick of buying black spray paint. Like, I feel like I should take out stock in it or something. Oh, you finished the last episode of The Witcher. Yay. We just started it. We should probably watch episode 2 tonight. I fell asleep the first time we tried to watch episode 1 because I'm that wife. I'm like, you look over and I'm like unconscious on the sofa. So we had to go back and rewatch it again last night. It seems really good so far though. Have you played the game? You watched like 4 episodes yesterday. Nice. See, the problem is we wait for each other, so like he'll be available all day. I won't be. I'll be available all day. He won't be. So I sit here and, like, even though I totally want to watch The Witcher, I'll just, like, watch Project Runway all day. You only played a bit of the third game. Did you get to the part, it's kind of a spoiler, it's kind of not, because I'm not going to provide any context, but did you get to the part with the flying dead baby? Did you reach that part? I feel like you're watching a Quentin Tarantino. I can see that. I can see that. Like, a really gritty, like... So you did see the flying dead baby. That's my favorite part of the game, is the flying dead baby. Like, Brian's played it a couple times, and I always watch for the flying dead baby part, because I'm like... I'm sorry. I like cute stuff and everything, but I also have a, let's just be straight here, like an asshole sense of humor. So I'm like, there's a flying dead baby. Like, oh my god. But no, so I read one of the books. I have the first novel. I haven't read it, but I did read the first book of short stories, I guess. Novellas. It all comes together. It's just kind of Game of Thronesy, where, like, you sit there for several episodes, like, okay, how does this tie in? And then you find out later. No, like, the books are good. The books are actually good. The game is actually based on the books, and so if you're a reader, I would definitely check them out. They're high fantasy, but without venturing into Tolkien, where it's like a bunch of like descriptions of like scenery. Like, they're pretty action packed and they move pretty quickly. I would recommend them. Guys. So let me ask you, right? The Horus Heresy books, right? Okay. Should I actually read the Horus Heresy books? Like, my reading is very backlogged right now, but should I add the Horus Heresy into my my TBR stack, or is it just like not worth it? Warhammer books are very hit or miss. Like, Warhammer books are like extremely hit or miss. Like, ask Brian. Like, you either like them or you don't, and even the ones you like, eventually, like, take Eisenhorn. I like Eisenhorn. I liked the book, and by the end of it, I'm like, oh god, when is this gonna end? Like, as contrary as it sounds, they can get very tedious, and you're just like, okay, and then this person died, and then this person exploded. Oh, look, it's, look, some Xenos. So, Warhammer kind of cliff notes that shiz. Yeah, the video games for Eisenhorn, or I don't think there are video games for Eisenhorn. Are you talking about The Witcher? The Witcher games, I would actually play the games. I keep telling Brian I'm going to play them. He's like, when are you going to play it? Do you want to play? We'll just trade off controllers. You're going to play? And I'm like, yes, but I want to read the books first. He thinks I'm doing it just to be contrary. Shit, I totally just, like, the same mistake I just fixed, I just created again. Like, oh my god. Remove some of the frickin'... So, contrast paint. Fun fact. It's runny as frickin' hell. And you cannot just put it on there, like I keep freaking trying to do, and just be like, boop, there we go, it's done, it's fine. Because what will freaking happen is you will wind up having to go over the same spot again and again and a freaking gun. Freaking contrast black. Oh my god. Even though I like the contrast black much better than I like most of the contrast shades. Alright, let me go ahead here. Back to our contrast pink. Brian, I'm sorry I'm using all your contrast paint. I will buy you more. I really like the contrast pink and the blue, though. It's really fun for going for, like, tie-dye effects. I love you. Don't know if you heard me or not. Oh, thank you, Tyoma. Greetings. Happy New Year. Most happy 2020 to you. How are you? Hey, Brian. Can you come look at this for a second? That's okay. Did I or did I not do the shade? Oh, okay, I didn't do the shade on her legs. Instead of looking at her legs like, did I do that already? I did the shade on her arms. I'm totally losing my mind. Happy new bear to you as well. May your bear hibernate long and feast well in the springtime or some such. May the forest trail rise up to meet your bear. Going ahead there, doing that highlight. And on the other leg now. Oh, isn't that like extremely good luck or something? If I remember my fortune cookies correctly. My like 1997 fortune cookies from Fantastic Walk. I remember when I was a kid, like I like egg drop soup now, but as a child, I like hated it because it had like little wrinkly like egg curds in it, and it was just like, oh my god, why are there chunks? I was never a fan of chunks as a kid. I like would refuse to eat like lasagna because of the cheese chunks. I also hated cheese, and now I love cheese. Oh, but it could be like Miss Brisby and the Rats and Nim. You could have like those rats where they're like super intelligent. You could have like a Nicodemus rat where he's like all like wise, and then he gets a brick dropped on him and it's like all sad, and then the Justin rat fights the Brutus rat and like kills him, and it's like a whole thing. Like, we could have those rats. They can live in our rose bushes. We don't have rose bushes, but I would plant some if we had like Nim rats living in them. I think I mentioned before how basically the secret of NIM. NIM is actually the National Institute of Mental Health, which is insane because basically you have this kids movie where it's a bunch of like anthropomorphic animals fighting against the National Institute of Mental Health, and their views on lab rats and such. Alright, so here's the part where we deviate, finally, from our contrast paint and switch over to a dry brush. Whilst I wait for Brian to return and answer my burning question. My burning question. Burning wifely question. Did you pay the bills? No. Go. So he says you're supposed to paint. It's an X from top to bottom when you're dry brushing. So I'm dry brushing right now with a little bit of Changeling Pink from GW. I find that even though the contrast paints get you up to like, you know, a certain point, there's still certain things that you should, that I'm totally not like dry brushing in the right direction. There's still certain things that you should do just to really get that extra pop going. I am really trying this year to kind of focus on my fabrics more, my textiles more in painting, as opposed to just focusing on the skin. Just part of why I'm playing around so much with the contrast paint. Because like I really do want to get to where like my fabrics, I put just as much detail and attention into them as I do my skin tones. Because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put a lot of time and effort into the skin and then like super half-ass the rest. They're pretty amazing for beginners and people who are initially scared to start painting. They are. They are. It like, it takes it and it like removes like the intimidation factor. Because like it's kind of like impossible to mess up that badly. I might have to go up there and get Brian. I think you forgot.
I'm coming.
He says he's coming.
What's going on?
So there's this like strawberry shaped thing. They all have lanterns and she doesn't have one. Is the strawberry shaped thing supposed to be the lantern?
Strawberry shaped thing? Oh, lantern. Oh, the thing hanging off there.
Is that supposed to be the lantern?
How did other people paint it? Whenever I don't know what something is on a mini, I just like Google other people's.
What do you think of the pink dry brush?
It's looking pretty good. I like the two-tone. Good, nice.
Thank you.
It contrasts. I like the way it pulls up. It looks kind of like cotton, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Looks delicious. Thank you, baby. You just raised another good point. It does pull up beautifully, which I know we are in the age of the airbrush. It's the year of the airbrush, but I personally still kind of like a little bit of that like etchy look, you know, like a little rough, which is kind of surprising given my aesthetic. I prefer more of the like anime looking miniatures, but I prefer like more of an old school paint effect, I guess. But yeah, I think it all just boils down to a matter of, you know, what you personally prefer. Now that pink dry brush almost completely covered that gold thing on her head. I'm going to touch that up with that rose gold, I think. You're very much a brush-only person at the moment, don't really have a desire to invest in an airbrush. The thing is, they have some at White Metal Games I could learn on, and it's something I would like to learn how to do. Brian's gonna think I'm just being obstinate. I really like. This is gonna sound like super corny. Like, I feel like dry brushing and pulling and such, it gives you like this kind of illustrated effect to where it feels like the miniature is something out of like an old school like storybook fairy tale. And I feel like it makes it like almost prettier. Also too, and this is where I'm gonna sound super crazy, that dollhouse, for example, that I'm working on, that I've been working on forever now. There's certain things where Brian will tell me an easier, he'll show me the hard way to do it, and then he'll show me like the easier way to do it. Like floorboards, for example. There's a much easier way to make the floorboards out of styrofoam, and it might even look better. But it wouldn't mean the same to me because I didn't sit there and cut each one of those and whittle them individually myself. If that makes sense, like I didn't put in the labor, so it's not the same. And there's sometimes you can't really avoid that. Like there's some like furniture and such you should just buy. But there's some things that like I feel like it's really worth the effort to sit there and put that time in, even if nobody cares but you. And to me, that's what hand painting is. Like, it's like the shoe cobbler sitting there in Italy in 2000s, like, in 2020 even, like, with his little, like, hammer and nails. Like, it's just more pure. I say as I sit here with contrast paints, like, totally super cheating. But it is. Which isn't to say I would never use an airbrush. By all means, I love the airbrush effect. I think it's really pretty. But personally, I'm a glutton for punishment. And I'll sit here and like hand toil over my miniatures as long as it takes. I feel like that's why I like the miniatures I do. I'm very much like, I'm more into fairy tales. I like the pretty ones that look like princesses and such. Which isn't to say I don't like a good, you know, Cthulhu-looking miniature at the same time. It's just as if given the choice, you know. I'll take my miniatures pretty, thank you. There we go, there it is. Brought that back. Might shade over that a little bit. Really make sure that detail pops there. Let me go ahead and do her feet, or at least her other foot. Got the one, I forgot this guy over here. Remove some of that paint with the side of my finger. Alright. Let me go ahead and do the highlight on her sword. There are definitely things you can do with an airbrush you can't do with regular brushes. Plus it's faster if you want to paint a whole army, but I still prefer regular brush techniques. And that's the thing, like with contrast, for example, all those things, I didn't do the frickin' shade on her sword. Let's do that real fast. With contrast, I feel like you can get through an army relatively quickly. You know, probably still not at, like, airbrush speed, per se. But close enough for my taste. Like I said, though, I would totally learn to use an airbrush, you know? I have this one upstairs. It's not actually a miniature. It's a model, but it's for this brand called Tokidoki. They do a lot of stuff with like Hello Kitty, Sanrio, etc. You know, and they have these DIY mermicorns, mermaid unicorns that you can make. I started doing it with the paint pen. I'm not sure now that I'm in the project that it was the best decision. Brian recommended doing it with an airbrush. I could see how that would make it way easier. I'm just not sure with the material. It's like a vinyl latex type, like that the airbrush would hold. The paint pens are working. It's just very tedious, if you will, because they keep running out on me. All right, let that dry. Let's see how other people painted up this this thing that looks like a strawberry. Kingdom Death Echoes Mage. Let's knock the open ink over, shall we? The open shade. Let's see, there she is. Load. Okay, they made theirs blue. That's the same one. Oh, let's see. That one's gold. See what color this one is. Yeah, that's the gold one. Alright. So they did theirs gold. The one person did theirs blue. Fuck it, I'm doing mine turquoise. If they don't like it, they can suck it. They can suck it. I guess she doesn't have a lantern. I guess they don't all have lanterns. Alright. You learn something new every day. Jabroni. Yes, indeed. Suck it, jabroni. Let that patch dry. Is that shade on her sword dry? Mostly. Let's come back in with our super bright silver. Did I put it in there? Did I bring it down here? Jesus, stop dancing, Christ. That's gunmetal gray. Oh my god, no, I didn't. Look. You know what? That's alright. It's okay. I think I have it actually in this box down here. I do! Look at me being all prepared. Oh my god, I'm so proud of myself. Yeah. Fuck yeah, sterling silver. I'm an adult. I'm prepared. Oh my god, guys, I fixed my oven all by myself. I was talking about this yesterday, but just in case you didn't hear, and also I'm super proud of myself, I fixed the oven entirely by myself. I cut my finger open doing it, but that's beside the point. Go me. I'm a badass. In case you didn't know. Go, a little light feathering. Right down to the tip, fuck yeah. And a little bit up this side. A little bit down this way. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. That'll do her. Don't know, that's why I suddenly decided to speak Hilljack, but it's okay. Let me get a little bit of that Agrax Earth Shade just on that little spot there on her forehead. Let's see here. Alright. Alright, that'll do her. That'll do her. And let's go ahead. I got a lot of glue on her. It was very intense trying to get her to dry. It was super aggravating. I'm gonna go ahead now and paint around this cluster of glue I've got going on her foot. We're just gonna blend that in. We're gonna make it all black. Black is the ultimate blender. Part of me is like, go back and give her eyes. And the other part of me is like, no. I have mixed opinions on eyes with this, because her eyes look pretty good as are, but I know I could give her eyes, or I could fuck up the entire thing and have to start over again from scratch. While I contemplate, I'm just gonna paint her base, but in the meantime, yeah, eyes, no eyes. To give her eyes or not to give her eyes, that is the question. I've seen people do crazy stuff with Kingdom Death bases, like somebody made like one of those face bases, because like the terrain in Kingdom Death is literally just flat and there's faces. You build a town eventually and etc, but like mostly it's just faces, like you're standing on like face cobblestones basically. I've seen people like 3D print them and such. I am not that talented. So I'm just going to do her base black for now. I like to come back sometimes and add like a bronze band around it just to kind of give it a little pop of color. I could give it a pop of color by actually basing it, but that's not gonna happen. Even though it totally should. I'm gonna clean off the brush and look over, and there's just like the biggest miss spot in the universe. There we go. I should totally give her eyes. I should totally stop being a lazy fuck and give her eyes. God protect us all. I'm not gonna fuck this up. I might cry on stream if I do. Don't let me fuck this up. That's way too much paint. I don't have a good feeling about that at all. Not remotely. Sometimes, even though you know you can do something, it pays to listen to yourself and not do something. Like when the spirits whisper to you, like, stop my child, like sometimes it's okay to be like, you know what, you're right. Like, I hear you, spirits, I hear what you're saying, I concur. What I'm gonna do instead is hit up that sword slash... No, that thing is still totally super freaking wet. Nope. I was gonna do that dry brush there, that last dry brush on her sword. Instead, I'm not going to right now anyway. What I am gonna go ahead and do here is call it for the evening. As per usual, I will post her once she is done on ye old Instagram at Taste Tiny Worlds and Facebook at Taste Tiny Worlds. In the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Let's see who we shall raid tonight, everybody. Let's see, let's open up Twitch. Let's see. Sovereign Miniature. What's your whole name? What's your whole name? I can't see your whole name. Alright, we're gonna do Holly Monster. Yay! Alright, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good night. If I can get this to work. Good night, everybody. Good night, Cathera. Good night, Alex Stefan91. And good night, everybody else who's watching. TLS Terrain, I will see you momentarily. Everybody, here we go. Come with me on a fantastic voyage.
Defend! Thank you, Storm, for shouting out Taze. Appreciated. They might have gotten stuck in an ad. This is Deep Ocean, puppy. This is the color Deep Ocean. Taze, thank you so much for the raid. I have not seen you around. Are you a painter as well? Or do you do other stuff? Yeah, I figured maybe you had gotten stuck in ads. Yeah, I wish that I didn't have any ads in my channel. I don't want ads in my channel at all, but I think they just are there. You are? Okay, well, I will go and give you a follow then. I love meeting fellow mini painter streamers. Like terrain? Gotcha. That's what I started out with too. I started out doing terrain. Alright, there. Followed. This is a Reaper Mini. Oh shoot, my commands aren't working. There it goes. This is a Reaper Genie, or Ginny? I don't know how to pronounce it, but she's basically a genie-like gal. She's actually pretty big. For comparison, this is a 28mm mini, so she's big. I'm doing a refurbished dollhouse. Oh, nice! Genie, 3 wishes and all. Larry, I haven't seen you in forever! I hope you're doing well. Yep, probably. She's got a lamp right there. See? Little lamp. I'm painting her, like, ocean-y colors. So I'm giving her green hair and blue, like, smoke. Yeah. This is just the base coats for now. I normally don't base coat the whole thing and then paint it. I normally paint each section, like the skin, and I'll layer it up. But I'm eating a pizza. Her facial details are actually really good. I would compare her to, like, this one in terms of size and detail. So.
Hello.
It went pretty well towards the end. I had
Reaper,
nobody
for the
for like
most
the
part,
first,
is
like,
pretty
hour.
decent. Especially the metal minis
We
are
got
really
better,
good.
like, shortly after the raid.
Here is a Reaper metal mini.
How many people did you end up with?
Like 4.
It's got cat fur all over it, so apologies there, but she's got pretty good face details. I'll show you close up, actually. Let me clean off my glasses here.
How was yours?
I couldn't work on the big thing at all.
See?
Every time you moved it, it made it really staticky. You gotta learn how to use Twitch.
What do you mean?
So, like, you can figure out if it's, like, Twitch, like, acting
do I
up
have
or,
other
like, there's things, because it was, like,
metal
really, like,
Reapers over
fuzzy
here?
sounding,
I
like, the
don't
whole
think I
time.
do. No, I don't. Oh, here's one, actually.
I'll hit the table ASAP. So I
This
can
one's
start.
pretty
Just doing it here.
simple, and I have messed him up, like,
Yeah.
nope, too close. This mini was the first mini that I did at my first ReaperCon. It was the beginners painting class. And so yeah, he's an old boy. Anyway. All your stuff has dog hair. Yeah, mine has dog and cat hair. I've got one of each. 2 of each, actually. Hi, Reaper. How you doing? Yeah. But we're just getting all of her... Well, not all of her base colors, but I'm doing, like, the hair and the clouds and stuff to try to, you know, get some progress made on her. This is my... what I call my Monsters Monthly mini. So I paint a mini every month at the beginning of the month, and then I give it away at the end of the month to whoever wins it. Just because I like to give back to all the people who are supportive of me. So, yeah. The dog and the cat hair is like a bonus textures. Yep, that's true. That is how you know that you have an authentic Holly Monster mini. All the fur. Get more. I'm using Christmas wreath as the base of her hair. Because why not? Alright, well thank you again for the raid. Appreciate it, and I hope you have a great night.